We live?
We are live and ready to go. I'm gonna get Sarah's presentation public.
All right, do you wanna announce the microphone number, you wanna announce it?
Oh, it is May 20th. And it is 4:36 PM, and this is a committee meeting of the Parks and Rec Department of Town of Silverton.
Thanks. Oh, it's me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks everybody for being here. With us today present it is, I don't know the order, so forgive me, start with trustees first. Okay. Trustee Schnitker, correct? Trustee Gardner. Our town administrator, Boyer Koschberger, and Mayor David Becker, and my name is Sarah Dean, and I am the facilities, parks, and recreation director for the town. And this is the Facilities, Parks, and Rec Committee meeting, our third one ever. Thank you very much for your patience. I know it's been since December since we've done one of these, but great news is I have a lot of information to share with you today, and I'm looking forward to any questions that you guys have. And yeah, really looking forward to getting into the summer, armed and ready to my knowledge as of today. So yeah, I'll just jump right in and start here with the first little slide. It's interactive, you just push forward and it'll take you right through. There you go. All right, so I just wanted to step back. I did this at the very first meeting that we had and just reintroduce the staff. We've had some changes since starting here. I guess I've been here 15 months now. But I just wanted to point out what my guys are actually doing right now, kind of covering everything across the board. So I just wanted to take a minute to recognize them for that. And reintroduce Jeff Rome, who's our full-time employee, who has one of the most amazing range of skill sets I've ever seen. Same with Dave Swanson, he's our other full-time, he takes care of every single flower and plant in this entire town. He's an expert tree transporter and a writer. If you guys have a chance to read any of his books, he's pretty funny most days. And then Chris Gaps, he's our ski area manager in the he's our ski area manager in the wintertime. And he has honestly been our lead lift mechanic. He's gotten some training there, and he's kind of crossing over into the summer with some event support and doing some minor responsibility with driving heavy machinery, and he'll be helping with trash and facility supervision, in addition to his other employment. And then Thomas Moore is our part-time person. There's two P's in front of that because he kind of just shows up and does a bunch of carpentry stuff. And he's done so much repair work for us in just a little amount of time and has really improved the Kendall experience for us, and has some really creative ideas that, you know, we've been able to take advantage of. So you'll see him around here. But other than that, that's it. This is who's handling all of the summer operations between MOLAs, between all the events, the trash cleanup, the total park administration, and
Weddings too, yeah.
Weddings.
That's a huge one.
We're very minimally involved in those. I've made sure to kind of like revisit what our relationship is like with wedding support. You know, I can kind of take heat on that because of my experience at the Wyman. So, other than that, landscaping and tree trail cleanup, I just wanted everybody to just remember that we're doing the best we can. And trying to crush as much of this master list that we can in-house with the repair work that we're doing, mostly through YouTube videos and everything else that we can do with very, very little training. So just thank you for the patience. And just quick reminder on how limited we are. All right, here we jump forward. And then again, there you go. All right, so I don't know if you had 20 minutes to dissect all the arrows and where things are going, but this is a very broad overall view just to show that the priorities between the board and the department and the community are pretty much in alignment. And I think that that's a very large thing to recognize. Very different verbiage for maybe each thing. The priority itself kind of shifts around based on day to day, but I wanted to recognize that the very first priority is that we have staff capacity.
Yeah.
And that we are directing kind of where staff skill sets are around just keeping operations going. All the fun stuff will come later, I think, but for right now, we've spent a lot of time in just making sure that we're completely staffed throughout the week, throughout the winter. So, I think that too important to go back to the citizen survey, kind of where the community had some overview and where they would like for me to focus my time. And Kendall Mountain, as you can see, is a very large bar of that. We have worked very, very hard to improve the look and aesthetic of Kendall and the repair work. And obviously, the lift repair has been a big piece of that, and making sure that operationally that we're able to run bell to bell. And I'll go more into Kendall stuff later. But in order of those priorities, it was focus on Kendall, focus on events, and focus on the visitor center. Really kind of the aesthetic cleanup, and I kind of take that on, you know, as a responsibility directly. So I like to point out that our town administrator has shifted my mind on deferred maintenance and has got me refocused into asset management. I really appreciate that. That has been a really good way to reframe all of that work. The most important thing to me was getting the heat situation under control, because we have to have heat before we can have kind of facility analysis and kind of what we're spending on propane and some of the bigger things that you look for in a facility management plan. But they are all assets. More assets than just Kendall and the EC. We have recreational assets as well that we haven't utilized, but I just think it's important to point out that every facility that we oversee is an asset for its own reason. So I will look to you to reprioritize maybe where I'm focusing the majority of my time, and try to shift back more from just like, let's make money, into just like, no, we have a lot of things that we're trying to make sure are repaired and up to date, and see how we can utilize them the best. And then just going down the list, the perimeter trail, I'm glad we're on the same page on that. That's very important to us. The planning is still moving along as is. ADA accessibility, that's a big project. It's not just as simple as like, hey, we can put a ramp in and we're done. I'm learning that there is a much bigger process that we have to follow. So you'll hear me talk about accessibility a lot. ADA is part of it, but really accessibility means a lot of things other than just ADA. It's anybody, right? And that's different kinds of user groups, different kinds of injuries, different kind of ability levels. And the biggest thing that I want to point out is the different type of skill level, right? And that kind of leads into diversification of recreation, same thing. We want to support all skill levels, every single sport. We're all gifted athletes here, or you all are gifted athletes here, you know, but we have to remember that a big user group and a big number of the visitors that we have like to do other things besides the big stuff. So important to recognize this. And then going back to creating the system for passing down institutional knowledge, I think that that's one of the biggest assets that we have within our department. We have a range of skill level from people that have been here for 20+ years that know all of the infrastructure underneath the ground, things that we don't have in writing, to somebody that's, you know, fresh out of college that knows things that, you know, like reading electrical schematics, you know. But I do think that in passing that information along, it's important to have something in writing, but I really just want to point out that focusing on training for staff is a huge gap that I think that we could fill. My team is always asking me for more training, and they're holding my feet to the fire on everything and every type of activity that we're doing, and I feel like I owe that to them and myself to bring that up, and myself included, right? I didn't have any background in parks and recreation or facilities before this, and I'm constantly looking for opportunities to learn, so I just wanted to point that along.
And real quick, sir, when you're thinking about training, are you thinking about like in certain skill set areas that we might have gaps in, or in like facilities management, or in certain licensing that we want, or is it just all of those things?
I mean, historic preservation is one of them. Lauren Liu is very open to wanting to transfer knowledge over to my staff so we can repair the buildings in the historic fashion and the proper process. Really just building skill sets that'll allow for me to accomplish the list that's on the board. In-house skill sets, repair skill sets. But yeah, like we need to know how to operate a chainsaw correctly. Safety is a big one. Knowing compliance for everything across the board. It's from running the lift to operating person lift, right? Across the board. And then for me, it's mostly just following government process and admin and transitioning my mind from corporate structure. So that's, And two, what's going on in the Parks and Rec world, right? Getting out of here and being around different mountain towns and being exposed to that and having conversations with other directors, what are you doing in this situation? Has been really, really helpful. I have a very strong network of leaders within southern Colorado, southwestern Colorado, New Mexico, and Denver Central that are really excited for us in the sense that we have a clean palette to work with for Parks and Recreation. We're really starting with a clean slate and we're not in like damage control management. So they've done a really good job of giving me advice and also stepping back and being like this, you guys got it. But it's great to have somebody to bounce ideas off of. I consider that training.
Are there a lot of professional development opportunities within the area that you found for Parks and Rec specifically?
Yes and no. CPRA is the biggest resource I have. That's an organization that we joined last year. We're joining every year. So a lot of the cost behind that is the organizational dues and then the yearly conference. But there are a lot of different subcommittees that I'm a part of, and I consider that training as well. I go to those every month, they're online. And then RMLA, of course, the Rocky Mountain Lift Association is the big lift conference. Silverton is very strong representation there. We have 4 from Silverton Mountain that went this year, and then myself and Chris Gash went this year. And between CPRA and the Rocky Mountain Lift opportunity, that's really where the majority of our training classes and workshops come from. Good question. All right, we can move forward. All right. I don't know if you had a chance to look through the list, but we had some major wins over there this year. And I'll start with recognizing 21 Stinger, Mr. Grady, who's president today, who not only helped solve a major issue that we have over there. We talked about this in several board meetings back, and we talked at the last meeting about the 2-part component of the issues that we were having over with the lift. The first being electrical, which we got a hold of, and the second being the mechanical portion, which is the bull wheel dance that you guys see us do. We're pulling the handle down. That's how we started the lift. So we'll talk about that in a second. But overall, in having the help in getting the lift repaired, we also were able to have some double over in training and get ahead of our maintenance plan. And we have a very smooth, efficient process now in maintaining maintenance. The training was the biggest piece of it, but to check off all the boxes and to go through our inspection, really with flying colors outside of a couple little notes, I think is a big major win. And because of that, and because of the investment that we made to fix the lift, we had no evacuations and we had no search and rescue calls and very, very minimal downtime. The downtime that we did have, we were able to clear the whole lift with the backup motor, which was the other issue that we were having last year. So outside of the numbers perspective, which I'm also excited about, we were able to run bell to bell, no closures, outside of one day that I had to give staff a break, right? Outside of that, we were able to run all the way with giving out tubes for free, which was kind of a way that I wanted to diversify revenue that year. But we were able to capitalize off the rental equipment that we already had. We made $0 of investment in that. Almost everything that we made over there, 90% of our numbers that came through were from visitors. Only 9% of our total numbers were season passes. That's a big number to look at. So what does that tell us? Right? People are coming from other areas to ski. Day passes. It's the events.
Yeah.
They're coming to Kendall. They wanna learn to ride, right? We have DEN certified lift operators. That's huge. That means that they can go to any ski area and fit your boot correctly and legally, right? We were out of inventory how many days, Jeff?
Most days between Christmas and New Year's, the whole inventory was out.
Yeah. So when someone comes to Kendall to learn to ski or learn to ride, and this is the most common situation we see there, no one really knows how to get fitted. So I need 3 people over running the lift. I have no one running the ticket counter. I have no one really in concessions full time. We're losing money, in my opinion, because I have to allocate time to have someone get fitted for rental equipment. We did double the price, which is where some of this is coming from, but also it's the time resources, spreading 3 guys or 4 guys tops to cover the whole ski area. So we just kind of winged it this year again. We were able to have good coverage for the most part, but I really wanted to recognize that Kendall is a mountain that people are coming to learn to ski. We have no learn to ski program.
Yeah.
That's the next step. Okay. So those are kind of the loose numbers from that. If you have any questions on kind of where we were, I feel like most of you were present at the mountain this year, so you kind of saw the overall operations and the improvements that we made.
And I heard huge feedback. I mean, everybody just said Kendall's looking better than it's ever looked. That's what I heard. Just signage, safety, marking, direction, and just really kudos to the team really, and just running it so smoothly and.
And to Mr. Grady for teaching us how to operate safely and for getting it done.
We're really vulnerable. I mean, it's a huge asset for town. And we're really vulnerable to losing it or to having it not operate in a way that.
Yeah, and taking time and resources away from search and rescue for getting everyone down.
Absolutely.
And there's only so many times you can do that before you get shut down.
Yeah.
And let's just be honest, if those parents had been from Denver, we would have had a different experience.
Yeah.
All parents from Silverton are
Yeah. One of the more exciting things too that I want to point out for next year, and again, like my whole vision for Kendall right now is just focusing on the base. Well, one, getting the lift working safely and efficiently, right? Maximizing on that. Two, making sure that it's staffed. I think that's always gonna be a thing. It's just making sure we have enough people over there. I can only do so much. I can only work over there so much. Like they'd rather me not be there, to be honest with you. So I think that in having, we weren't able to put the terrain park out there. I do wanna focus on the tubing hill. I think that that's gonna be a huge asset. We have Snowmaker, which we were, Silverton Mountain has very kindly offered to kind of loan it to us for a hot second, so we can try it out, see what we can do as far as coverage, to get it to work. We couldn't get it operational this year, but we hope to next year. So Brady's working on that right now, so it'd be cool to be able
In
to,
his retirement.
yeah, he's not. Demo connoisseur.
Can I ask a question about the Christmas to New Year's week? I mean, I've known from larger ski mountains that like, you know, they'll talk about that's when they make 80% of their revenue is that one week. Do we find that to kind of play out or are we a bit more? Do we fluctuate less?
The majority of it is Christmas weekend. Bank Slalom does a lot. And then the ski school race, believe it or not, is third runner up. Yeah. So more events over there, the merrier.
Ski school during snow skate. Ski school race during snow skate.
Yeah.
This is my pitch, because Carl, think about it, then you get all those families to stay for the whole weekend. The Lake City, the Monarch, you get the whole families come for the whole weekend instead of just coming for that one day.
No, I think we could dial up with the school a little bit and get the scheduling on par and work together to maximize, I think. I think it's traditionally been very separated, other than just running the lift for ski practice, but I think that we can make some great steps there.
Yeah.
And again, the more events, the merrier. I would like to see more stuff going on there. But yeah, Christmas to New Year's, how many days in a row, guys, did we do?
17.
17, yeah, in 17 days in a row.
I know, but take.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we were down a guy, Dave, and Dave's all healed now. That was a bad day.
Yeah. Straight-ish.
I'll remember Kendall forever. Okay, and then obviously I touched real quick on the service book brake replacement. I think you guys know the issue that we're having with that, the mechanical thing. Basically, when we stop the lift, we have to hold the brake open. It works, the brake works. The brake works, it's just, it needs assistance in staying open, and that's very hard to do when you only have 2 people operating the lift, you know?
But it still allowed us to pass inspection.
It allowed us to pass, it's on the list of something we have to address immediately, yeah, so,
And we'll be getting a cost estimate on.
Yes.
that at some point.
any day.
Yeah.
Been saying that for 3 weeks, but it's coming, it's coming,
Like that grant we're reading.
that's. It's coming.
Like every grant ever.
I'm finding that the longer they can wait for a bill, the higher it is, but.
We'll say correlation.
And then on that, kind of touching on the same, really, I'm just getting an overall assessment of the building work that needs to be done as well. You know, I think that the building needs some attention in doubling the prices over there. We're gonna have double the clientele. We're gonna have double the expectations, and I wanna be ahead of it. So that list that you see on the board is basically addressing that everything I would address if I was getting married. And just the one thing that has kind of slipped. There's just a little spot in the wall back by the thing. that wall is the reason.
There's
no need to panic. It's a small wall by the utility closet that was getting torn down anyways, in order to make room for more chairs. But yes, we have to address it. The bigger issue for me personally is that there's no insulation on the bottom of the building. And that's where our heat is going.
Yeah.
So we're looking at these increased costs and propane and utilities because we don't have insulation on the bottom of the building. So that's the innards, right? We need to take the wall out, we need to put insulation in, and then the kitchen needs a little love. We've done some painting in there. I think that we can cover the cost of replacing the appliances that are broken. I found some flooring underneath the building here that we can cross over. And again, I have very talented staff, and between YouTube and us, we're gonna do as much as we can without contractors. We can rent the ballroom for waxing things and touch things up and make them look a little bit nicer and clean the carpets. So,
I have a question about the venue. I know the years in the past, they weren't allowed to do it for our wedding. But in the past, they have run the lift, like in the summertime for the wedding. Would that be an option you would explore to maybe increase the price a bit more for this add-on and then put more stuff on?
I would love to. Every single wedding that is booked for 2026 is asked if we rent a lift.
Yeah, I mean, yes,
Yeah.
especially with like, we have our grandmothers come up and just to get that lift and be up there for the view and take some photos, it's just.
What's important to know about our lift though, is that we can't download it. Yeah,
People have to get down.
yeah, and we don't know how it performs in the summer. And to my knowledge, we've done this before, we had an issue,
Right, remember
so we
that?
stopped doing it.
Yeah.
There's always a reason why something stopped.
Yeah.
Or something.
Grady, do you have any feedback on running the lift in the summertime and any concerns we would have to have, or?
So, in the winter time, as you do, for most skiers do, the tram board or the safety regulator on there, they come and they have inspections and stuff. A lot of skiers run the lifts in summertime, and they have a summertime operation, which you have to develop, and you have to have some infrastructure, like a ramp up top, so you can get off the lift.
Yeah, that's right.
And, and then you'd be into the state tram board coming in and inspecting you again, because it's an operation. If it's 1 day a week, you may not see it, but you need to follow the compliance of the summertime operation.
Yeah.
So there's an expenditure to get ready for that.
I think it'd be cool to try it out for weddings and see how it does, get a cost assessment and see how we can make it work for us, right? That's a staff it. Right, but then start with weddings and we transition to park and stuff that goes on in kind of in the summer, the tourists can come and, now you're not hiking, you're just going.
Just to get it look like there.
Yeah, but yeah, my mind goes to staffing it, but it's a great idea and it comes up all the time. And right now I've just been
Yeah, no, that's.
noting when it comes in
We have
and,
other priorities right now.
This is just.
but I think it'd be great.
Future, but if we did want to expand, especially if like we're thinking about inclusiveness and being able to have anyone to access, it's for future, but.
But for now,
But
they can
it's
take
an
pictures.
interesting point, you can't download that, you can't get people down, that's something to keep it.
Right.
Yeah.
Good question, and yeah, it comes up all the time, every week. So yeah, I think I touched on almost everything up there. The service break obviously is the biggest cost right now and the biggest priority. Again, it's on the compliance list. We do have to engineer and retrofit it. And then we have somebody that can help us put it on. So it'd be a 2-part thing, a lot like what we did before.
And the timing is we have to get that done before next quarter operation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a budget ask, yes. But then everything else, right? Again, the building needs, I have pointed out, the insulation repair, I do have a quote for. That would be the biggest cost in the building repair. I'm still working on the roof and all the little eyesores that, we've been trying to address for years, but again, it's just gonna take some time. I need the whole summer to get solid numbers out of everyone involved. So, any questions on the stats? The numbers, these are really good numbers to look at.
Really
They're exciting,
Yeah, it was a really successful season, did the staff feel like it was successful besides David's injury? Did you guys feel like it was a successful season?
Yeah. With friends, well, all season.
definitely another stuff. Why?
Yeah, exciting.
Yes. All right. Okay, not a lot of detail on Moelis. We're opening next week. We're doing our summer opening operations after Iron Horse next weekend, and that's basically just, turning the water on. Helping her out moving the picnic tables. But I did want to point out that since we did the increase in pricing, we've already surpassed our total sales from last year. And this is, this is really exciting.
It's not scaring your people away.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
right.
And I had a good conversation with our campground manager, who was very apprehensive in the last board meeting about the increase, and she is all for it now. She said she's had very minimal complaints, but is still holding her feet to the fire and making sure that the rock cliff area, it looks nicer.
Yeah.
So, again, we'll do that in-house, just to kind of explain what that looks like. If you've been to Moelis, where you come in, where the big places park, there's a little, I don't know what you call this, like a little tiered area that people don't know that they can access to see the lake. So you have the biggest campers that are spending the most money that don't have a lake view. They have a view of the highway. So we're trying to do signage and some rock creation to get them away from their trailer or RV and up and looking at the lake. So
Yeah.
we're working on it. But some other like minor improvements there, we're putting some heaters in the showers, she's putting flowers out. We're putting some sand on the beach to improve that whole experience out there to make that a little nicer. I know the question, Dana, that you had last time was, can we do a day use charge? We can't, because then we lose the ability to put the fish in the lake every year, so that's out. We are gonna improve security. We're putting a gate in that we're making in-house to kind of help with the squatting problem that we've had out there, and just helping her feel a little safer if you have security. And then improving her living quarters. And then, the only other thing is that, we brought this up last time, that we're probably gonna have to put another vault toilet out there at some point. The idea was to use the mobile toilet at first, but I think the visitor center is a better place for that. And we can revisit at some point, but we go through a lot of toilet paper, and there's very few spots for people to use the restroom. So I do have a loose quote for that from the very beginning when I started, so I don't know how that price has changed, but I do have it. And later, when we do the next one, I'll have more solid numbers for you guys to digest, and then you can go from there. But just letting you know it's coming.
Yeah.
It's a big one. So that's really it. Really just the costs of the website management and the facility campground is really just the big cost there right now. We did the tree treatment last year and we fixed the culvert, so the lake level should return back to normal, we hope. And then really we're just gonna let it do the same.
Great. The thing I care about whenever I go up there and chat with Jennifer is the thistles and how they're trying to manage them. Does that come up?
Yes,
Yeah.
so here's our idea. Came up with an all natural treatment, some kind of vinegar mix that we're gonna put in our water tank that we purchased out here, and we're just gonna go and we're gonna just shoot them with vinegar, and there's gonna be a lot of labor out there. We'll
Yeah.
take any free labor we can, but her and the staff, I mean, she does a great job of picking up the micro trash every day, every campsite. She fills bags every day. But she's very passionate about that, and I think, it would be nice to spend some money to get some extra support out there for her in that realm, but we'll just see if the treatment works first. Yeah. Good question. Anything else? All right. All right, so I bulleted this out at recreation, and then we'll go back to recreational programming. I think that the big message that I just wanted to point out here is that I know that one of the board's priorities was putting together a volunteer program. So I know that we've kind of prioritized things back to the list, and I really do appreciate that, but I do think that it's important for us to have an opportunity to focus on cleanup. And going with the asset management plan, we do have athletic facilities that need a little bit of love. Can't spend any budget on it, but there are so many people in town that have offered to help, even with just little things. It will not take much to get the facilities back and running. The ball field just needs a scrape. We can have a kickball tournament. when I think about programming, I'm just thinking about pickup days, right?
Yeah.
We have soccer pickup, we have hockey pickup in the winter time. I think we need to bring kickball back.
Volleyball,
I mean, like filling in the gopher holes or like,
Well, just scraping the top and just getting it level again. I mean, we can't redirt it or turf it and put lights up, you know, but it won't take much. We need an attachment and we need 2 hours of labor and we have the bases out there. That's all we need. That's all we need.
And you could have pick up volleyball, like if the facilities are there, then people can use them.
That's right.
Yeah.
And again, like in thinking about programming as a whole, you know, I think that the way you start programming, and this is the feedback that I've gotten from other directors, is just like, no, just clean it up a little bit and then let the community do their thing. Let them handle the
Yeah.
programming.
Yeah.
We text each other all the time. I just think it would be great to see a sand volleyball game in the fall, right? And good use of that space. Yeah, there's a lot of weeds in it, and I think just with a little bit of sand, we have the volleyball net already, it's
Yeah.
just sitting in the garage, so.
Yeah.
Again, it won't take much.
That would be huge. I
Yeah.
know a lot of people would utilize the volleyball court.
Yeah. And then doubling over, I prioritize the Kendall Trail Loop. Not a lot of people know that there's a loop on Kendall Mountain that used to be a running event, a big running event, where they would just run a mile loop 100 times all through the night. And it was a really big fundraiser. And we've kind of gotten away from trail maintenance over on the mountain. It's labeled, it's signed, there's really beautiful cast iron and log signs that are throughout the mountain. We just haven't cleaned that trail up. It's part of the 10K fun run that's gonna happen in the summertime. The town event, well, I guess the Blue Ribbon event that town is kind of sponsoring, with Terry, includes that trail loop. So I'd like to utilize that time to clean that up and make that a nice trail for the running events and just really for us to maintain. Just another asset on Kendall that we're not using.
It seems like it'd be cool as these things are cleaned up to have someone take a couple nice photos and then link that on the website. Cause then like when people are asking, well, what can I do? And people don't know about the Kendall Loop or don't know we have the volleyball, then there's pictures of like, hey, you can go, did you know you can schedule a game? Cause sometimes people don't know that they could just use it or they don't know that it's there and once it's cleaned up, then it even is better to promote.
And I think it's an easy hike that you can do from
Yeah.
town, right?
Yeah.
A very
Yeah.
quick, easy hike.
Yeah.
It's easier than trying. I mean, my opinion, maybe not. Everybody's opinion of easy hike is different. I've learned. And then the pump track at Kendall, I mean, really, that's just a day going out with a flamethrower. We would check with the fire department first and foremost. It's a nice pump track. It just, I need to connect with the community members that know how to repair and restore trails in the right way. Again, that goes back to training, you know? We have several people in town that have all this trail building experience and like, we need a place for them to put that.
Yeah.
So I would appreciate any help and knowledge that people have. So we'll get those dates on the board and whoever shows up, that's great. I know volunteer management is a difficult task, but honestly, like just it won't take much to get things functional. Again, just time, that's it.
Yeah.
And then moving forward to the future of recreation, again, you know, just going back to the accessibility and diversification. When you have a $0 budget and you don't have the staple recreational facilities like the rest of the state does, we just get to start clean. So obviously the perimeter trail is up front and center. That's something we're spending a lot of time on right now. And for those that don't really know what it is, it's a 4-mile loop that starts really at Kendall Mountain, continues down to the visitor center, crosses the street, goes up through Anvil, over Shrine Road, back down through town, through Memorial Park, and then back over to Lackawanna. So in a long vision goal with connectivity and bridges, it's 4 miles completely. But our goal is the 1 mile between Kendall and Visitor Center. We repaired the connector that goes from the train to the bicycle, a broken bicycle, over last summer, just to make sure that, again, the running events had a clear path on Kendall and over here by the river. But the vision is to have a flat trail for people to walk at least just 1 mile. Even if it's over here for the time being out and back, since we don't have a bridge, at least you're getting 1 mile right off the train there and back. You know, so I can't stress enough how much I just want one flat trail in town.
And one bridge.
And one bridge.
Start with one bridge.
Working on it.
We're working on it.
The bridge would open up a huge opportunity, but even so, even directly from town, I mean, in my mind, I think it'd just be a really awesome thing to have, you know, our folks that are visiting on the train get off and turn right, you have a recreational opportunity that's easy for every accessibility level, or go left and go eat lunch. Clear signage, hey, there's trails over here. This trail is kind of hidden back here, it's a hidden gem, you wouldn't know it was there unless you saw the dog park stations, so. And that's the other investment that we've made, the dog park stations. And then just moving down the list, these are, you know, things that have been brought to my attention by multiple community members, I get a lot about the skate park. We had to demo it last summer, that was kind of a bummer and no backup plan. I've reached out to a couple different foundations to see if they would donate, but I need some work on grant writing, so. And then,
Put it in the multi-purpose.
there you go,
That's all it.
yeah, there you go.
It's all the things, guys, it's
Multi-purpose.
multi-purpose.
Well, great, we got pickleball, the skate park, and the perimeter trail all under the pavilion, the pavilion can go.
Yeah, it's the trap.
$8 million.
Cover trails, even though Wisconsin, they eat and cover their trails.
Like now, we don't have to meet. This is brilliant, thank you.
Go shopping and do that. A mile long, okay, that's the same trail at the top, it can go like, this is, we would get skewered.
Yeah, we would, yeah.
A mile long for the covered trail.
We can ask. But yeah, just letting you know what the goals are, and again, I'm gonna keep hammering on accessibility and diversification, period. I just think that those are the two buzzwords that I just wanna focus on for the most, accessibility for all, I will say it over and over and over and over again, so,
I think it's really important to me too, and I think you have this captured, is that we really don't lose sight of the community energy that's been put into the whole Kendall complex.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, when we first moved here, that was the conversation that was happening, right? And it's happened for years. It's sort of like, how do we utilize this space? Because it's such an important asset. It's where so many different age groups can hang out. It serves so many different purposes. And so not losing sight of sort of, what does this Kendall complex look like? Certainly, how does it connect to the rest of the town experience? But just to me, that is our crown jewel asset for so many things, for all the kids who are sitting in that school with nothing else to do
that's right.
all year long. You know, how do we help them not age out of it as a resource? How do we help it be from, you know, I think Night Skiing does a great job of bringing in a new crowd. I think Terrain Features brings in a different crowd. I think the tubing, you know, just seeing how we utilize it as a space. And that's why I harp on the multi-purpose pavilion, because I'm like, this is the thing that helps make this a year-round asset. Having the pump track improve there, connecting trails up to Bakers, like Kendall's the base camp for all these great things that benefit the community and benefit our visitors.
Right. In the meantime, until we have the money,
Yeah.
we'll keep clean.
Yeah.
We'll keep it nice and mowing. Yeah, so a lot of passion around all these sports for different reasons, and I want everybody to know and beyond that I hear it, and I'm doing the best that I can, with limited resources, so, thank you for the patience.
Well, I think, sir, you're taking a great approach of like, well, what's the facility's job is to keep these facilities in working order. The community's job is to do the events to enjoy the facilities, right? Like, when the people say, well, you should do it, I take the line out of Carrie Metzler's one of her approach at the senior center. You should, great, I will unlock the building for you, which will let you have your Christmas.
That's right.
And so it's not, you should start a baseball league, you should start a kickball league, it's, hey, the field is ready to open for you.
That's right, thank you for clarifying, I
And the
appreciate
people
it,
that are passionate can take it on.
thank you, alright, great.
I have
Okay,
one question on cleanup days.
Yeah.
Tyler and I were talking about, you know, the partnership between town and Silverton Strong and the Ambulance Association doing a trash pickup day on June 21st. But I also didn't wanna like spread everything too thin. And so I didn't wanna take away from some of your calls for volunteers. So just sort of a question is, if we were trying to schedule something on the 21st, would it be better to push it to some of those endeavors and people who want to pick up trash could? Or what's the best way to just like be collaborative and not have so many calls for volunteers that people are like, I'm not sure.
well, the good news is that we get a lot of cleanup volunteers. I think it's just focusing efforts. I think 2 a month is easy to do.
Yeah.
Kendall's gonna be more like twigs, and I need someone with a chainsaw out there maybe, and just like loading it up. I mean, we take most of it away.
Yeah.
I think it's knowing where the efforts need to be focused. If this is just a general town cleanup day, you can take
Pick up
an easy.
trash, yeah.
Yeah, the Animas River corridor always needs help. There's always glass that's coming up from an old dump site, but no, I think 2 a month would in any of those
Yeah.
months would be fine.
Okay,
Yeah,
so if we were still doing 10 to 12 on the 21st, it's a Saturday, that would be fine.
absolutely,
Yeah, okay, and we can still focus on trash. Okay,
absolutely.
okay.
And we're happy to help with liners and transportation of the trash over to the transfer
That's great, the
station.
transport is awesome, when David comes through and picks it all up, and yeah, I think the MS Association had all the gloves and bags.
Great, and if they're hot dogs afterwards,
There are hot.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, they're gone this year.
they're gone, okay, I need to know from you, or sure.
See.
Yeah.
All right, okay, that's it on that. Any questions?
That's good.
All right, wonderful. Okay. Events coordinator position. Okay, so first and foremost, I absorbed this position for the time being. I think it's all fair to say that maybe not my strongest suit. And yeah, I'm really just trying to get an overall in-depth, hands-on idea of where most of the time is spent. It is a lot to communicate with the weddings. Future bookings, current, the facility walkthroughs, the coordination, the special requests, the constant communication. I mean, we're booked out all the way through 2026. We
We're
have
booked
wedding,
through all of next summer.
almost, yeah.
Wow. Well.
We have a wedding every single weekend from this weekend until the last week of October right now.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Except for that one weekend of Hard Rock 100.
that's right. That's right. And they're there for 2 weeks. So that contract is coming down the pipe, just FYI. There's 6 contracts that are up for renewal this year. So that's really where I'm focusing my efforts, is one, the communication. And once I have the capacity after that communication, it's digging into these contracts and after having a hands-on approach and what works, what's not, and then we go from there. Contract negotiations are a big thing. So we just did Iron Horse, thank you very much for that. Hard Rock 100 is next, RVIPA and the Hard Rockers. And then the smaller ones later in the year, so those are coming down, but. I'm trying to focus a lot on trash control, parking, and some of the major issues that we've had with the events each year that hasn't been added to the contract. I really want events, weddings, everything to be mindful of picking up after themselves and having like an Airbnb. Clean it up when you're done, right? And just lighten the burden just a little bit. So, and then again, I think having a software system, a software investment in managing the events, the rentals, that we're doing it right now on Outlook, it's not sustainable. So we'll have to make some kind of investment there for reminders and for total access for anyone to be able to get into it. There's some permissions issues with Outlook, as again, I'm sure those that are tech savvy know, it's just, you know, we need somebody to transfer all of that over and to manage it. I'm happy to do it for now, but I think I've got about one season left in me.
Yeah.
Melina's been a huge help in making sure that, again, I follow process and taking payments and good communication between the events and what paperwork is needed and, that's been a learning curve for me. So to have that investment made in that would be wonderful. And then just, you know, kind of seeing how it works. Is it a full-time position? Is it just a seasonal position? Is it better to focus on hiring a person per event? Someone that has a passion for that event, that wants to run it, and then a new person for the next event.
Or contract out the booking schedule, like just the wedding piece, or yeah.
Anything. And then you have the social media management, you know, right, like, I'd love to have a stronger digital presence, especially for Kendall Mountain. You know, we only have 2,000 followers, I don't understand. I don't know a lot about Instagram, but I know that we should have more followers than 2,000, right? And again, not my strong suit, it's not my thing. We answer the phone and I really just need someone that knows how to get content generated, know the right thing to do.
Could you combine a position for events and marketing or something?
Maybe I'll go
Yeah,
to
that's, that was kind of our vision with it at first, but it seems like it would be beneficial if we had like someone with a marketing background, you know? And then the events was separate. And maybe that marketing background serves the entire town and, you know, Kendall and all of those, but
Because that is what Nathan was.
Yeah.
He was events and communications, and he was doing marketing and events, but it's never worked.
Right.
For some reason, the two have never worked
Right.
together.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure why, but for some reason, it's never worked.
I think creative control, I think everybody has passionate ideas about what they want it to look like and how people are comfortable with their own process, so really it's just good communication between whoever's managing the events and the creation of whatever the digital presence is, I think.
Mhm.
That's my perspective, at least from I've been on, since I've been on, so.
Yeah.
The third bullet here on the maximizing rental income, like, I hesitated to put that on, and now I'm kind of, you know, I know that the biggest goal is not making money.
But we,
But it's important.
It is important, it's important, you gotta get it.
and what we have to do with our rates of water is
Yeah,
like charge the right rate to take care of the assets you have,
Agreed.
so.
I do hear that we don't have enough events, we don't have enough community events, and that is not something that I have the capacity to do. You start the event, we'll get the facility ready for
Yeah,
you.
I mean,
And-
it's what, these things were run by the person that was passionate about it.
Yeah,
That's how this is happening. I mean, am I wrong in this town? I mean, it's just like the all women's kazoo band. That was because freshmen
Yeah.
wanted to like, and it goes away when those folk, it's hard for events to be legacy events. It's super hard for them to transition to the next generation. Because the next generation wants to do a different event. And so it's really a call out to the community of like, the things that you're passionate about, we will give you the space to do it.
Yeah.
But the town has historically not owned lots of these things.
well, this is where my background in sales in New York comes through, right? Because I'm like, we have got to make more money, how do we do it? Well, I need a person that's cold calling on the phone, I need somebody trying to fill the gaps during the week throughout the year and running things out, corporate retreats,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
local outdoor
Workshops.
recreations, workshops,
Yeah.
anything, I need to target the people that used to come here that don't anymore. I mean, I think it'd be insane to have different levels of companies come out here and do, you know, corporate events and, you know, team building exercise, you have a resort. You can do your meeting and teamwork things outside, like, good, you have a venue, a deck, a beautiful landscape, and we are still way under market, period.
And that comes with the marketing and the communication and the profile, raising the profile and knowing who people to market to and yeah.
And two, it's where do you invest the money on marketing, right? We have a wedding website that does a great job in fielding leads and traffic to us. They've been the only one that I've seen personally that's given us tangible numbers to work with. How many bookings have come to us and actually booked from our website? So they've been great to work with. But outside of that, I need somebody filtering leads. I need somebody calling and doing outreach. That is something that I've done in my past. I don't know, I'll do some of it, but I really need somebody to focus on that. That needs to be their thing. So I don't know what it's gonna look like. I will just do the job and get the information and turn it over to you guys, whenever you're ready, and we go from there. But definitely an investment that we need to make, and I'm realizing that I just can't do it all.
We can't do everything.
Yeah.
We should, well, it's good news that we're booked for our busy season.
Yes.
And those are areas for improving on margins.
Great. All right, well, that's really all I had on that.
Are you going to play there?
Yeah, or close to.
Yeah, okay.
We're good. I'm done. I think. We press the button one more time. Okay, yeah, okay, all right. Well, maybe we use the next 7 minutes to field any questions that you've thought of between December and now. Anything off topic or off agenda, I'm prepared to answer, so I think.
I mean, just is there anything specific that you need or want from this board, the trustees, this committee in particular?
Yes,
Yeah.
patience.
Anything else?
Patience.
We can like.
Just give me some time to get some solid numbers together for you. I know we don't do these meetings often enough, and I apologize, but I wanna make good, efficient use of your time. I wanted this to be an informational piece to kind of just tell you everything that's going on in a structured environment to keep me on track. Thank you, Gloria. And just know that everything on that list we are working on, but it's gonna take me all summer long to get the real numbers in front of you. Once I have that, then I turn it over to you guys and you tell me where to prioritize and we go from there. But in the meantime, we have plenty of work.
So in the fall, you'll likely see an asset management plan, with, options for what to fund next year. And our priorities that we would recommend of what to fund next year. Then that will be coupled with the capital improvement plan, so separating those two out. And then you guys can kind of have that look, and this year for our budget, we're doing a 5-year projection. So that'll accompany the budget, so you'll see line items and how they're looking for the next 5 years, and some of those, asset improvements that we'll be proposing will be part of that, so you can kind of get a more holistic view of your budget.
I think that's super helpful, because then we can think again, like some of these things are things that we just invested in out of our general fund. And then other things are things that we say, oh no, that's larger, but that's on the priority list, we want to pursue grants particularly for this, or pursue funding particularly for this, and it helps us prioritize, so. I just think, I mean, you've done a great job and your team at taking out the low-hanging fruit and really making improvements, and what do we see on the citizen survey, like. Your department got some of the highest marks, I think, and just real compliments, and so I think that's a testament to the work that you all put in, to your leadership, Sarah, and I think it's helping the community understand there's a lot of things that I'm working on, right? Well, things of just taking care of the assets we have, because they're old and need care, and planning for the future for the things people keep asking for, and I appreciate your willingness to plug in people's passions as you can. But again, I encourage you to remember those boundaries of, here's the facility, great, go rent it, I'll make it open for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that reminder very much. Yeah. Okay, well, that's it for me, and unless anybody else has any questions.
From
Yep.
staff, like things the board can do to support you better differently.
Maybe it's just high five. Telling you last people to come there, and it's gotta be hot dogs.
Yeah. Make sure time set aside hot dogs for.
When we talk about the community being in need for food,
Nothing left. Chills.
we will always take food. Maybe that's important for everybody to know. If food appears here, it will go to a good place. Yeah, we're hungry.
I think what Sarah said.
Yeah,
I see you focus on at 5 in the morning. Things just take time.
Yeah.
I mean, all those trees that we've got.
And it's just you guys doing it, so it's.
So with Chris, like, do we anticipate positions adding any additional full-time, or do you feel like how you're managing it seasonally, part-time working?
I think we're good right now with what we have. You know, I brought this up before, but you know, just making sure that the most used facility in the town is serviced. The bathrooms need to be cleaned every single day. We set a really high bar last year and then being cleaned, and they have to be cleaned every single day. So that investment needs to be made. In the winter time, it's running the lift and making sure we have adequate staff over there.
Yeah.
But other than that, we're good.
Great.
We're good.
Great.
We're figuring out on our own and hiring a contractor in the most dire positions. So, yeah. We're
And
never.
that attitude is like why you've been so successful, and you and the team are really doing a lot of amazing things.
They do most of the work. I just organize the list.
You get the marching orders, you need marching orders. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, helping prioritizing things helps, and you feel free to always constantly keep me in line, and Gloria has to do it on a weekly basis and just. I get it, yeah, well, it's gotta flush before we get a ball field going, like. Got it. Oh, all right, well, thank you guys for being here, appreciate your time, I know the coordination is difficult, but you'll hear from me sooner rather than later, let's. Touch base in the fall when I have more numbers for you to look at, and then, yeah, we'll go from there.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yes, thank you very much.
And everyone, this is my father.
You told me it was over.
I did. Oh, you didn't, you want? Oh, okay. Are you're driving over there?
No, I'm gonna walk